Hey, this is Marty Angler, and if you're not doing anything later tonight, you know it's Saturday night. Come back at 11 p.m. Beardo's Roadhouse. That's where we'll play till 1 a.m. You know, we play the jams you want to hear. And if not, listen anyway, because they're jams you want to hear. Right here on WHIW 101.3 FM, Harvard Broadcasting.
Hey everybody, this is Dave from the Dave in the Morning Show. Make sure you tune in every Saturday at 5 p.m. for the one and only Marty Angler with Angling Water Outdoors. Right here on WHIW 101.3 FM in Harvard, baby. I said moo.
Hey, this is Man Moorigan from UFO Buster Radio, and when I'm not out blowing up aliens and UFOs, oh, that was close, I'm listening to Angling Waters Outdoors with Marty Angler. I pick up some great fishing tips for those moments when things are not so hectic with these aliens from 4.2 far. So if you want to get some good fishing tips, you need to check out Angling Waters Outdoors. Enjoy the show, because I'm going to bag me an ET right about now. Hasta la vista, baby.
Welcome to the Angling Waters Outdoors Show with your guide and host, Marty Angler.
I lack ambition. Think I'd rather go fishing.
The Green Hornets caught more fish than you've lied about, Gustafson.
And so, I don't think so. Good afternoon, anglers. Marty Angler back with you once again right here on WHIWLP 101.3 FM in Harvard Broadcasting. How is everybody this fine and glorious, humid, hot day? Like I said on Friday, if you listen to the Dave in the Morning Show, I was there and I was saying, we're just short of one little guy running around in a red suit with a long tail and a pitchfork. Whew, it's a warm one for sure. But we'll get over it like we always do. Anyway, that brings me to my point today. Okay? Well, I still want to go fishing. How do I do that? Well, I wouldn't go out in the middle of the day, that's for sure. I would limit my time out on the water to a couple of hours. If you're like the old angler, you just can't do that. So here's what I offer you. Because of the heat, because the sun, as soon as the sun comes up, you're going to start baking. So now's about the time. I would probably be up at 4 a.m. I'd have the boat hooked up, ready to go by 4:30. I'd get it down on the lake, be in the water by 4:15 or 4:45. 4:30, somewhere in there, depending on how far you have to drive. Excuse me. And then I would go right to the places in deep water where you would find fish feeding on the top of the water. Now, if they're schooled up, that's even better. If they're not and they're all over the place, start shallow. Start in the shallow near the rocks, because just like when the sun hits them, they hold the heat longer, but when they cool off, they hold the cool longer. They're like Earth's way of having an ice cube and a heater all in one. So find the rocks. If they're scattered on you and they're in flats, go to the flats and I'm going with plastic. Now, a largemouth bass, walleye's got to head to deep water. They're going to look for moving water. they're going to get around that thermocline, and they're going to just start hanging out after they feed. They'll come in, they'll feed, and then they'll hightail it to the deeper water. I'm not saying you can't catch them. You can. Again, it's really hot out there. So, biggest suggestion to you is this. If you're going to fish, go shallow. Be quick about it. They're going to be aggressive. If they're not aggressive, then slow down and go out deep. Remember, fish are warm-blooded. So, they're warming up, they'll go out and they're going to feed. Now, I would probably go with an inline spinner because of the ability to move, hit and move. Cast, reel it in, cast, reel it in. Now, last Sunday, we had that little cool off on Sunday. We found a fish in deeper water, and I found that by using a double-bladed inline spinner in tandem, because I could slow it way down, I got more aggressive hits. I got more. They're gonna be aggressive, but they're not gonna chase. And if they do chase, it's gonna be for a short period, because they're expelling energy just like you're expelling energy. So the faster you wear out, the fast is as fast as they're gonna wear out. Sure, it's not 110 degrees to them, but I bet that water temperature is going to be up near 90, especially near the surface. And they're going to head to the air conditioning just like we should. So, I got to tell you, hey, that's the way to go. And I would use plastics in the deeper water more than I would the inline spinners, because I don't have to be so aggressive. I can make it look like I'm a fluke guy. I'd be out there with a fluke. A fluke is a worm or a minnow or a wacky worm. I'd fish it just a little faster. Maybe twitch, let it fall. Twitch, let it fall. Make it look like it's trying to get away, but maybe not so really. It's too warm. Get me some iced tea. I'm going to hang out in the chair. That kind of attitude, I like fishing in the heat because they're going to relate to deeper water faster. I mean, it's almost easy. But here's a giveaway. Bluegill, and we actually found some bluegill still on beds. I was shocked they were still on beds. I mean, here it is, July going in near August, but then again, we've had a weird year. So, but ones we didn't find on beds, we found in 7 to 10 feet of water near weeds up on top. And what they were doing is they were feeding off the algae on the top. They cast past them or through them, way past them, and just, I was using a fluke. So I'd twitch, and just let it die. Just let it roll over and fall. I'd go 1001, 1002, 1003, twitch, 1001, 1002, 1003, and boom, I'd get a hit. Now, I didn't get a hit, every second time, but I did manage to catch quite a few of them. And if you checked out the Angling Orders Outdoors Facebook page, you seen the fish. And we were catching them, and even all the way up until, right about 11 o'clock. But the skiers had to have their time, so they kind of ran us off the water. We did go shallow, but they weren't in the shallow. And it was kind of hot there a few days, so I think the shallow bite, I think you can get it later, just not during the heat of the day. And not saying you can't fish during the heat of the day, because if you want to go get some live bait, you can catch walleyes near the 20-foot mark all day long with live bait, live minnows, worms. Not being real aggressive, I'd take the minnow maybe on a 2-foot, maybe about a 4-foot. 4 foot, put a weight about 4 feet out from it, cast it out or let it drop down and just kind of, troll it like, if you've got a speedometer that goes that low, 0.5, 0.7, somewhere in that neighborhood, and just kind of let it just bounce the bottom a little bit. And, just enough for that minnow to swim around, yet you're still pulling it along, getting it into different areas. You'll catch them. Definitely. The bigger bait you got, the more bigger ones you'll probably catch. Now, bluegill, you can catch them all day long with just with a plastic, or not plastic, but Berkeley power baits. Those little wigglers or little grubs. You just put those on a little jig head, maybe a 64th ounce. Put it on a bobber about 18 inches and just pitch it out there. And just slowly reel it back. They'll attack that thing like it was dinner time. So, excuse me, I'm dealing with a lot of sweatiness all of a sudden. I know, maybe it's the heat. So, I'll be taking a break and drinking my iced tea as we go along here. Now, my thing right now, I do like to fish in the mornings because then it doesn't murder my whole day. And I don't like fishing in evenings because it limits me. But evening bite right now is probably the best you're going to get when it comes to fishing, because as soon as that sun starts to get off the lake and the shadow starts to come over the lake, whether it's because of trees or it's because, the sun's just far enough over that whatever trees and houses are blocking the shallows in that area, they'll start coming in. Same thing, plastics. Maybe an inline spinner, maybe a spinner bait. I say if you can cast a piece of plastic with an open face spin reel, 30, 40 yards, I say get 30, 40 yards away from shallow, from inches deep, along boat docks. Fish the back of the boat docks, the front of the boat docks. Take your time, and you should be able to cover enough open water there to manage to get a few really good bass, maybe even a few big ones, and even to the point to where I would turn around. If I wasn't being successful on the boat docks, I'd turn around with a popper or a whopper plopper, or even a, hula booger, whatever they call them things, hula popper. And I would try to top of the water, come off the weeds, cast into the weeds, pull it off the weeds, and you'll get a chaser or two and maybe even an explosion on the weeds. Who knows? But they have these new baits. I do have one. I completely forgot the name of them. But you just kind of jig them, reel them in, and they just kind of like hop along the water and kind of spit water everywhere. I like that lure, but I haven't liked it enough that I've caught fish. And I will, but just not the right place yet. I haven't found the right. I've gone across the tops of the weeds, but I think I need to be more in lily pads with that one. That way I can reel it, stop, reel it, stop, reel it, stop. And if you've ever fished a plastic frog, you know you don't just reel it in. Some people say yes you can. But by doing that, you've turned it into a lure instead of what fish see that they know is food. And that's what you want to do. You want to turn it into something that looks like food, looks like something they're going to eat, something they want to chase, something they have a taste for. Frogs are one of the largemouth bass's favorite foods. Northern pike love them. Smallmouth, not so much, but spotted bass. And then, depending on the size, even, pike, muskie. Not a fan of frogs. Very simple to use. Frogs don't necessarily swim long distances. So you want to cast in shallow. And sometimes I even try to cast all the way onto shore with them. And I told you a few weeks ago, Strike King has these new baits. They're $2 for 3 of them, which is pretty cheap because the original package I bought of these things was like $4. So they're selling them in all your Walmarts right now for $2. You're supposed to be putting these on a lure. Always get the ones with the flat tails. You can get the ones with the ribbon tail on them, the hook tail. They'll catch fish too, but I always have luck with the paddle tails because the paddle tails seem to make it look a little more real. I don't know why. You just cast it out there, let it hit the water, tighten your line a little bit, and then just wriggle your rod tip up. Shake it up, boom, 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 about 3-4 times, and then just reel in the slack. And then, I wait 1 or 2 seconds, and then do it again. And then if you get like where you're stuck on a lily pad, just kind of like hesitate a second, and then just kind of shake it again, like you're trying to get up on that lily pad. And then if you do get up on that lily pad, just leave the legs in the water. You will not believe how a bass that's sitting there seeing that is going to just explode on it. And to the point to where I'll even shake the rod enough to shake the lily pad, and then boom, it comes up with lily pad in mouth and largemouth, and that lure is just sitting right there in that mouth. Just let it fall off into the water, start to swim away, set the hook, there you go, you got a nice bass. It's not very hard. I've always tried to maintain that whatever bait I'm throwing looks real, acts real, and in a sense makes that fish believe that it's real. It's a live bait. It's something they see every day. Now, not saying that everything that you throw is going to be, perfect. Sometimes a kid just throwing something out there, reeling it back will trigger a bass bite here and there. It's possible. But I feel that the more realistic I make my bait, the more chances that I have that if there's any fish sitting there, there is going to be a competition between 2 of them, and one of them's going to come to the boat with my lure. Okay, and in a tournament, that to me is the more important than trying to throw, a deep diver in 20 foot of water. It's not my cup of tea, and I'm sure I probably could get away with doing that, but cast and reel. All I'm going to do is wear out my arm, and I'm going to just slow down and speed up. That's it. You give me that same thing with a fluke. I'm twitch, let it fall. Maybe I let it fall an extra second. Twitch, let it fall, twitch. You change your cadence, and then you remember what cadence you're using. Cast it out in the same spot again, change your cadence, and what happens? Boom, now you got a fish. Or you got 3 fish. And sometimes you'll see 2 or 3 of them fighting for it all the way to the boat. That happens. Or all the way to shore. It happens. If you keep an eye on it, as soon as they see you and the boat, they'll swim away. But the one you hooked, he's coming in the boat. Get the picture done, set him back. Set him on the other side of the boat so he doesn't scare the fish that are on the side that you're fishing from. It sounds funny, but it's true. You set it back, it scoots right back to where it was, and it's like they all freak out now because there's a panic in that fish because it's been hooked. And yes, they do panic. You ever seen a bass chase a bluegill? I have. It's cool to watch, but you can tell that bluegill is freaking the whole time. He knows he's going to get eaten. He just don't know when. And heaven forbid that he runs into another one that's chomping at the bit to get a hold of him, because it will happen. And oops, it's been a bad day for you, sir, but you tasted good. So, but yeah, with the heat, fish early, fish late. Don't go crazy. If you get out there at 5:30 in the evening, when the temperature starts to drop, maybe the wind's picking up just a little bit and it's not going to rain, or maybe it is going to rain, it's cloudy. That's the way to do it, because you don't want to be out there, struggling with the heat, because everything in your boat's going to get hot, and that's going to increase the heat. So now instead of it just being 100 degrees out there, Now you're dealing with 120, 125 degrees. You're sweating like crazy. You're going through water left and right. Head to the shade, wait it out, because it's just not worth having the issues when you get dehydrated, you pass out, you get sunburned like crazy. I don't know about you, but I'm not big on the sunburn. I used to not care, but as I got older, I really don't like being sunburned. So my fishing shirts, as you can see, they have sleeves. I ordered a couple of new ones so that I have different colors, but they're all light colored because I want the UV protection, and I want it to have the wicking, because that'll also take the heat off you too. So, and if you have to, you dip it in the lake, wring it out, put it on. Now you've just cooled down a little bit, but be very careful out there. I have a dark, it's a dark blue / black color boat. So I've picked up rods that were actually so hot I couldn't handle them. Something you don't want to do. Maybe find a nice channel with a lot of shade. Fish that. You'll still catch fish, but I wouldn't go out. I wouldn't venture out in the heat. Make sure if you do go out, you take water with you and ice. I'm lucky enough that the boat that I have the TXW 175 Bass Tracker. It has a cooler on board, so all I have to do is fill it full of ice, put my water in there, and close the latch, and it stays on the bottom. So the lake water melts. Will heat up the bottom of the boat, and the bottom of the boat will melt the ice. But that's not a big deal. The good thing about that is, though, when the ice melts, it drains off the back of the boat. So there's cooler water coming out of the back of the boat. So maybe a fish or two will follow it. Who knows? But anyway, stay hydrated. Now is not the time to be drinking coffee. In case you didn't know it, coffee actually will shrink your veins a little bit, and it makes it kind of rough after a while for your blood to flow through. The more water you drink, the more those veins open up, those arteries open up, and the more blood flows through. You'll be cooler. And don't guzzle the cold water. That's not good for you either. Sip it. A little sip here and there, that's fine. You'll be fine. It's a little tip. Been there, done that, and don't want the T-shirt. Don't want to be escorted to the truck and taken off to the hospital because I got overheated. So be very careful. Please be very careful. If you go out in the evening, still take some water with you, and don't forget the bug spray because they will come after you too. But you have the chance, more of a chance, I believe, in catching more quality big fish in the evening than you do in the later part of the morning. Before the sun comes completely up, yeah, you'll have the chance of catching some big ones. But those big ones know when the sun's coming up, it's time to hit the weeds, and they'll go sit in the middle of the weeds near a big hole, and they'll wait for food to go by. They really will. But again, be very careful. The opportunity's still there to catch fish. Do it early, do it late. Just be very careful. Drink plenty of water. Be very careful. And I try not to go alone. But if you have to go alone because nobody else is in the mood to go, stay in eyesight of somebody. And, if you're not back at a certain time, make sure somebody's calling you to see if you're on your way home, or if you don't answer, calling somebody to make sure you're safe. And that's, I think, going to be, my word for the day is you can still fish, just be very careful. Again, catching the fish early and late, it's more plausible because just like you, they're going to want to stay in the air conditioning, so they're going to go to the deeper water. And you may even see some fish schooling up in the deeper water. You'll see them in, 15 to 20 feet, but you'll see them 10 foot down. And that's because that's where the temperature is more to their liking. So I don't know what else to say. Just be very careful. Don't wear dark clothing. Don't go out there without sunscreen on, unless you really want to get burned, and it will burn you over sunburn and suntan. And then you run the risk of getting all them fancy blotches when you get older, like me, where you got these white spots and dark spots and everything because I didn't use sunscreen. So there's my message for the day, and we going to work on something else now. I don't know. Should we go to a song, or should we...
Mr. Angler.
What's that,
How about
Mr.
we
Wong?
have fish for dinner tonight? You have recipe?
I have recipes. You want them now, Mr. Wong?
The Green Hornet's caught more fish than you've lied about,
Seriously,
Gustafson.
right? Seriously, right?
Yeah, I'm telling you. Okay. All right, so let's play some music first. Let's give everybody a break from listening to my voice here. All right, let's go with the Yoopers and that 40-pound crappie. Here we go. Maybe. Eventually. There we go. Right here at WHIW 101.3 FM in Harvard.
Sitting in the outhouse with my fishing magazine, reading this here story about a fighting fish machine. A 40-pound crappie right here in this lake, right up here in Uperland for anyone to take. I finish up my paperwork and grab my fishing gear. I run down to the water with a cooler full of beer. I'm gonna catch that crappie, that fighting fish machine. Get my picture on the cover of that fishing magazine. A 40-pound crappie.
Holy wow!
Cross my heart and hope to die.
Really?
A 40-pound crappie.
Yeah!
Us fishermen don't lie.
Come on!
He feeds on ducks and swimmers. He's big and fat and mean. I wanna be the one to catch that fighting fish machine. I need some bait. Oh, here, kitty, kitty, kitty. I cast out in the water, right away I get a bite. It's that 40-pound crappie and he's putting up a fight. I holler to my Martha, grab the net and bring it here.
Okay.
She runs down to the water and she knocks me off the pier.
Sorry.
That 40-pound crappie, my Martha, he did spy.
Uh-oh.
They both just stood there looking at each other in the eye.
I'll get 'em.
Then she grabbed my fishing rod, that pole was really bent.
Whoa,
Just
whoa,
like a
whoa,
water skier,
whoa.
around that lake she went. A 40-pound crappie.
You mean a 40-ounce jumbo?
Cross my heart and hope to die.
Yeah, have another beer.
It's a 40-pound crappie.
I think you've been dreaming.
Us fishermen don't lie.
I think you're full of
He
crappie.
feeds on ducks and swimmers. He's big and fat and mean. I wanna be the one to catch that fighting fish machine.
Hey, Martha, try skiing on 1 foot. And watch out for that stump.
A crowd began to gather. They came to watch the show. While Martha entertained, I passed a hat and made some dough. Now the sun is setting. The crowd has all gone home. Martha and that fish are gone, and I'm here all alone. She skied into the sunset, and that's the last I seen of my fishing pole and Martha and that fighting fish machine. I look across the water, such sadness do I feel. I don't care about that crappie, but I miss my rod and reel. A 40-pound crappie.
A 400-pound crappie.
Cross my heart and hope to die.
Yeah, give me another beer and I'll believe you.
A 40-pound crappie.
Yeah, no, I believe you.
Us fishermen don't lie.
You're right.
He feeds on ducks and swimmers. He's big and fat and mean. I wanna be the one to catch that fighting fish machine. Jeez, that reel cost me $35.
Don't forget to tune in to the Dave in the Morning Show, Monday through Thursday, 6 to 8 a.m., Fridays for the Caveman Show, 6 to 9 a.m. Join Dave and his wacky crew as they bring a smile to your face with local news, weather, interviews, music, and a whole lot more. Just tune in to the Dave in the Morning Show, Monday through Thursday, 6 to 8, Fridays from 6 to 9. And if you're lucky, they'll club you and make a caveman out of you.
We are living like cavemen. We got cave girlfriends. And all we ever do is eat and make love, 'cause that's all a caveman does. Yeah, that's all a caveman does.
You can't catch fish. You can't catch fish. You can't catch fish. No. You can't catch fish. No. I got a little story about a city boy that came to Wisconsin up from Illinois so he can enter the big fish contest. It's $1,000 cash for the biggest and the best, but I told him, guy, you're making a mistake. You don't stand a chance catching fish on the slate, 'cause hey, you can pray you want to wish, but let me tell you something, guy, you can't fish. I told you there, guy. Can't catch fish. What do you think you're doing? Can't catch fish. For cripe's sake. You can't catch fish. Go back to Illinois, hey. Can't catch fish. Brand new motor and boat with a bunch of fancy gear, cripe sakes, you know it, and lures. Every style, type, and size. If you think that'll help, you're in for a surprise, 'cause money can't buy skill. You know the guys and me, we can catch 'em at will against Shad Rap. You ain't no match. Fish are just something that you can't catch. For crying out loud, guy. You can't catch fish. What the heck you doing? You can't catch fish. Jeez, guy, come on. You can't catch fish. Give me a rod and reel and take a step back so I can show you the deal how it's done. Now check this out. I'm catching crappie, sauger, perch and lake trout, or walleye. And pike. Take a few notes while I show you what it's like to throw a cast. And 10 seconds later, I was reeling in the bass, and you can never catch a bass like this. 'Cause let me tell you something, guy, you can't fish. I'm telling you, hey, you can't catch fish. You can't catch fish. I got a bite. Time. You don't know what you're doing. Your brains must be manure. You don't use a bobber when you're casting with the lure. But when you thought you got one, you had to go and brag. You fought it for an hour even though it was a snag. Then you finally hooked a muskie, and I said it's about time. But you didn't know how to set your drag, and the fish took all your line. Can't catch fish. Yeah, guy. You can't catch fish. Go hire a guide, hey. You can't catch fish. For cripe's sakes. You can't catch fish. Hey, I told you so. Another bite. Time. You thought that you could beat us, but I knew you'd never win. 'Cause you're from Illinois and we're from Wisconsin. I know you wanna argue, but guy, you know I'm right. 'Cause we filled up all our stringers and you haven't got a bite. Well, you came and lost the contest. Cripe's sakes, I told you so. You better pack your gear, get the heck out of here and back to Chicago. Can't catch fish. No. Can't catch fish. No. You can't catch fish. That's right there, guy. You can't catch fish. I told you there, hey. Can't catch fish. Listen to Shad Rap. Can't catch fish. Just stay in Illinois. Can't catch fish. Stop. Miller time.
Hey, don't forget to tune in to the Weekend Variety Show with Henry Stevens, Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Henry will keep you informed with local weather, entertainment, sports news, community announcements, and celebrity birthdays. That's right, celebrity birthdays. In addition to that, you'll hear a wide variety of music from the 1950s through today. And if you're lucky, he'll even tell you who's dead and who's alive.
Mr. Angler, how about we have fish for dinner tonight? You have recipe?
I do, Mr. Wong, I do. As a matter of fact, I even thought about it a little bit, and, well, I decided we were going to do some baked Lake Michigan trout. And as far as Mr. Shadrap goes, yeah, I'll take that bet there. Hey, yeah, there. We can, I get a couple of my buddies, we'll come up there and show you how to catch some fish, okay? And by the way, you're paying for the beer, because I don't drink. Anyway, baked Lake Michigan trout. The only thing beer's good for now is putting it in and making batter. Just saying. I guess I've done my time. We need 2 to 4 pounds of trout fillets, salt to taste, 3/4 cup of mayonnaise, 3 tablespoons of lemon juice, 1 teaspoon onion powder, half a teaspoon dry mustard, 1/4 teaspoon pepper, 1/4 teaspoon parsley, 1/4 teaspoon marjoram, and 1/4 teaspoon sweet basil. Oh, sweet basil. Oh, sorry. Lightly season fillets with salt and lay them in a baking dish. Combine mayonnaise, seasonings, spread mixture over fish, bake in preheated oven, 2 pounds of fish at 400 degrees for 25 to 30 minutes, 3 to 4 pounds of fish at 375 degrees for 40 to 50 minutes. Fish is done when lightly brown. Make sure it flakes as well. Now, if you don't want to turn on the oven, we can always set you up with some smoked salmon. I have a couple of salmon smoke recipes. Dry mix for smoked salmon. Excuse me. You need your salmon fillets, 1 cup of brown sugar, 1 cup of white sugar, half a cup of salt. Ooh, that's a lot of salt. 1 teaspoon garlic salt. Hey, add more salt. 1 teaspoon black pepper, 1 part honey, 1 part water. Mix sugars, salt, and pepper in plastic bag. Add thin salmon fillets. Coating well. Lay coated fish on rack or cookie sheet to drain for 2 hours. Arrange fillets on rack in smoker and smoke for 4 hours. An hour before taking from smoker, baste, or use a spray bottle, with 1 part honey and 1 part water. So that's a 50-50 mixture, I believe. And that's your glaze. Now, if you're going to do it the old-fashioned way, you get your salmon fillets, or 1-inch steaks, salt to taste, 1 pound of brown sugar. Generously season fish with salt, pack fish between layers of brown sugar, set it overnight, rinse fish in resulting liquid, smoke with your favorite chips until desired consistency is reached or until firm. Remove, cool, and refrigerate. And there you have it. Now, if you're wondering what would be good, I have tried it with apple, and I have tried it with cherry, and now I have a bag of peach, and I got a feeling the peach is going to be the one. I also have maple flavor, because as you know, if you listen to Dave in the Morning Show, I'm a connoisseur of fine smoked meats. As a matter of fact, I'm smoking up a roast as we speak. What's nice about smoking is you can put it on early and then let it go for 6, 7, 8 hours, depending on what you want to do. And then, go from there. It's always much more fun when somebody else does the cooking and you don't have to. You go on fish and you come home, you throw it in there. About 6 o'clock, your food is done. 7 o'clock. For chuck roast, it's anywhere between 4 and 6 hours, depending on how much weight, how much poundage it is. So, if you need a recipe, hit me up. MartyAngler13 at Comcast.net. I'll send you a recipe book on smoking fish and smoking meat. So, that's the way I am. That's what I like to do. So,
Mr. Angler,
yes,
you
sir,
got
Mr.
fish report for this week?
Mr. Wong, I do. I've got updated fishing reports. Let's start with Minnesota. Where'd it go? Minnesota. Here you go. Fishing reports. What's going on here? Oh, my computer's acting up. Bad computer. Bad computer. Stop that. Okay. Fishing reports for Minnesota. Lake Mille Lacs, east side. Anglers continue to experience good walleye fishing on the mud flats and deep gravel during the day or low light periods. Rock reefs points are kicking out walleye, especially during the evening hours, but they will produce during the day as well. Smallmouth bass remain active on rocky areas, and don't be surprised to find walleye mixed in with them as well. Look for muskies on the mid-depth rocks or weed lines in most bays. Johnson's Portside, 320-676-3811. If you're heading up that way, if you're going to the other side, you're going to the west side, well, your walleye action remains consistently good throughout most of the area of the lake with live bait or crankbaits. Fish are being caught shallow and deep on any type of structure and with most presentations. The 7 to 10 foot rocks and reed edges are producing smallmouth bass and walleye. Hit the weed lines in the bays for northern pike and a few muskie. Terry's Boat Harbor on the west side, 320-692-4430. Now, if you're venturing up to the Lake of the Woods, jigging with frozen shiners or leeches and drifting spinners with crawlers are producing walleyes on the south shore in 29-32 feet. The main basin is starting to load up with walleyes, and some nice fish are being caught on crankbaits. On Rainy River, pulling spinners and jigging has produced some walleyes. Smallmouth bass are still coming from rocky areas, weed beds, and bridges, while sturgeon action remains strong. At the northwest angle, drifting spinners west of Little Oak has produced walleyes. Jigging and pulling spinners on and around reefs in 16 to 24 feet is producing walleyes in Ontario. Ooh, we gave a Canadian report. Good fishing also continues for smallmouth bass, big pike, and muskies. Lake of the Woods Tourism, 800-382-FISH. All right, let's go on down here to Leech Lake. You need to cover water and key on low light periods of the day for walleyes. The best reports are coming off rocks in 10 to 15 feet with spinner rigs and crawlers. The Annex, Pelican Island, and Submarine Island are good starting points. Walleyes are also being caught on the 9 to 15 foot breaks and weeds with slip bobbers and leeches around Sand Point and Cedar Point during the evening hours. Live bait rigs and redtails are turning walleyes on the deep humps in Walker Bay. Muskie action has been best with bucktails or topwater baits on the rocks. Reed Sporting Goods, 218-547-1505. If you're heading over to Rainy Lake, we have a report for them as well. Walleyes are beginning to show up on the main lake reef tops, break lines, and deeper points in 12 to 24 feet. Walleyes on the reefs are generally holding on the top or near the top of structure. Many walleyes remain shallow and continue to be caught in and around weed lines on spinner rigs with a crawler or some minnow. Some smallmouth bass remain shallow in 2 to 5 feet, while others have moved to deeper boulders, 5 to 10 feet. Some crappies continue to be caught on the 4 to 6 foot weeds or a combination of weed rock structure. Other crappies are beginning to school up on the break lines, points, or sunken brush piles. Northern pike are transitioning out to the main lake structure and showing up on deep points and reef tops in 12 to 25 feet. International Falls CVB, 800-325-5766 if you're heading there. And do we have a Detroit Lakes? I was asked about that one. Detroit Lakes area, walleyes have moved deeper, 15 to 25 feet, and are hitting crawlers or leeches at Big Cormorant Lake, Pelican Lake, and Big Floyd Lake. You'll find panfish Sally Lake, Cotton Lake, Lake Melissa, and Big Floyd in 15 to 18 feet. Sally and Meadow Lake are giving up a few muskies on topwater baits during the evening hours. Northern pike and bass are active on the weed lines of most lakes. Quality Bait and Tackle, 218-844-2248 if you're heading over there. Oh, how much time we got going here? Well, we got a few more minutes, I guess. We got 15-ish. Holy cow. Can't speak. I need more tea. All right. We're head over to Wisconsin. Let's see. Door Peninsula. All the ramps on the bay have been busy. Smallmouth bass fishing was hit and miss last week depending on where anglers were fishing. Anglers fishing near Egg Harbor had a slower week compared to anglers fishing near Ephraim. The water temps around Egg Harbor range from 64 degrees to 70 degrees, while temps in Ephraim remain relatively consistent around 67 degrees. Anglers who had the best success are working the shallows in less than 15 feet of water. Ned rigs, plastic tubes along the bottom, and drop shots produce the most fish. Shore fishermen using the Anderson Dock in Ephraim and the marina in Ellison Bay caught smallmouths on crawlers, leeches, or minnows on slip bobbers. There were reports of yellow perch being caught throughout the week around Egg Harbor and Sister Bay. In Sturgeon Bay, there are a few reports of quality perch being caught inside the channel in 6 to 10 feet of water. Slip bobbers with minnows and crawlers have been producing the most fish. Smallmouth are still being caught on the canal with tubes and drop shots. Howie's Tackle, 920-746-9916 if you're heading over there. Let's see. Eagle River area. Walleye fishing is good at this point with the fish spread out somewhat. You can find fish in the weeds, especially early and late in the day. There are also a lot of fish in the deeper holes on Eagle River chain. All live bait types are working now at different times. There are, there is also some mayfly hatching going on, so switch to leeches in those areas on the larger lakes. Weed areas from 6 to 14 feet are the best. Half crawlers have been working well in these areas on jigs. Look at the deeper rock bars in the evenings. North Twin and Big Sand lakes have been producing some decent fish. Bass fishing remains in the very good range, especially for largemouths. They are hitting all types of baits. Plastic seems to be working best. Fish 2 to 12 feet in the weeds. Smallies are hitting in 8 to 15 feet over hard bottom areas. Muskie action is improving from a very slow start this year. The rising water temps are causing these fish to move well now. Okay. Eagle Sports Center, 715-479-8804 if you want to check that out if you're heading up there. Okay, and with that, let's see what else we can get in trouble with here. Lake Michigan Metro Lakes area, looks like a big report for this one. In Sheboygan, piers fishing success rates have been very low, but ramp activity remains steady, with most boat anglers reporting above average success on cohos and kings, depths ranging from 60 feet to 200 feet. Those who had the most success seem to be fishing at the deeper end. Flasher flies are still the most popular bait. In Port Washington, fishing pressure out of the ramp has been high. Most anglers who went out were successful on cohos, kings, and rainbows. The average catch was 6 feet per boat. But some anglers came back with their limit from 60 all the way to 200 feet. In Milwaukee County, Kinley Marina was busy. Most boats came in with a few fish, averaging about 3 fish per boat. Steelhead and cohos were the most common catches. The pier saw a lot of action from anglers, but success was very limited. Fishing efforts remain low at the South Shore Ramp and Bender Ramp. Racine County, warmer water brought a lot more anglers to the big lake. Boat anglers saw lots of success, while offshore fishing for salmon or trout is still a struggle. Perch are in and being caught in decent numbers. Perch have been caught close to shore, with some anglers even catching their 5-fish limits. Minnows have been the most effective bait. Racine Ramp boaters are still targeting cohos out to 200 feet. I see a pattern. Kenosha fishing reports are similar to those in Racine. Shore fishing for salmon and trout have still been tough. The perch have been biting on minnows. Many boat anglers are still targeting trout or salmon, and we're returning with many fish per boat. Cohos are still the most common catch. All right. Madison area water temperatures have warmed up, with Lake Mendota at 69 to 70 degrees. Smallmouth action on Mendota continues to be very good in 12 to 14 feet of water. A few small walleyes have been mixed in with those smallies. Mendota bluegill action has been a little slow, but perch reports are picking up on Lake Monona. Perch and bluegill have been somewhat active on weed edges and a little deeper. The perch have been holding tighter to the weed edges than the bluegills. Muskie action has been a little slow on the entire chain. And let's get into Illinois here. Well, we still got a chance. The Chain of Lakes, Fox Chain of Lakes, Lake County, Illinois. The walleye action is really hot now. Fishermen have been reporting good catches in Pistaki and Marie in the early morning or late evening. Jig and minnow or jig and leeches have done well as crawler harnesses drifted over the flats. Fishing in the 5 to 15 feet of water range has been producing, with chartreuse doing the best. Bass are being found around the boat docks in the morning and are pushing out in deeper weed edges later in the day. Spinnerbaits and swim baits are doing well. Braidwood. Bluegill fishing is very good on waxworms and redworms at Maziona. I haven't said that right. Good bass fishing at Maziona or Mazonia, something like that. Sorry if I mispronounced that name. But Clearwater can make for tough fishing. Catfish and bluegills biting fair on worms and night crawlers. Lake Michigan in the Chicago area, fishing remains consistent up and down the lakefront. Coho and king salmon are being found in 80 to 125 feet of water. Water surface temperatures are about 64 degrees, but it drops into the mid-40s when you get down 50 feet in the water column. Magnum Glow spoons, as well as larger flasher and flies have been taking most of the fish. Downriggers and dipsies have been doing best, with copper and lead core coming in a close second. There we have that. Now we're going south, Lake Murfreesboro. Catfish are the best bet. Anglers are taking good numbers of fish on night crawlers and stink baits. Crappies are rated slow. Some crappies are being located in 12 feet or deeper. Bass are fair to good. Anglers are taking some fish, but most are running small. Bluegills are being caught, but most are running small. Bigger fish are in 6 to 8 feet of water. All right, that's that one. Lake of Egypt. Bass action has been good. Some are taking fish early in the morning and late in the evenings on topwater baits. At most times during the day, anglers are fishing deeper with minnows and jigs. Some catfish are being caught on a variety of natural baits. Crappies are fair at best, with anglers reporting some success on minnows fished in 20 to 25 feet of water. Red Lake. Bass anglers are targeting riprap, shallow wood cover, and bridge piers with rattle traps, spinnerbaits, crankbaits, and soft plastics. Bluegills are still shallow and are being caught in good numbers on crickets and waxworms. Catfish are being caught on night crawlers, cut shad, leeches, and stink baits around riprap, sub-impoundment dams. White bass are rated good near riprap and bridge piers on jigs and inline spinners and crankbaits. And there's your reports for this week. Holy cow, we've made it. Wow, I didn't think we'd get them all in, but we did. So I got nothing else. I've given you everything you need.
When you look at that poor man.
Yes, I am.
Seriously, right?
Yeah, I know. Okay, so let's deal with it, all right? All right, can we do that?
Dilly dilly. Dilly dilly.
That's what I'm hoping for. Okay, so you take care. The temperature's going to switch next week. We're going to be in the mid-80s all week. So, you don't have to worry about this heat taking up all of your fishing time. And we don't want to be taking up all of your fishing time anyway. So go ahead, get out there next week. You know what? Take a chance in the evening. Go out about 5, 6 o'clock and fish till dark. Just throw some plastics. Because with the reverse, we're going from cool to hot. Now we're going from hot to cool. Sometimes those fish are still a little aggressive. That water temperature won't go down as fast as you think, but they'll feel a little different. So those fish might be still aggressive next week. Walk around the shoreline, pitch a worm out there. You're bound to have a good time. If not, get a beetle spin. Hey, who knows? You might catch some crappie or some bluegill or even a bass or two. Inline spinners, number 2 Vibrex is probably your best bet in chrome. I prefer them with the feather tails and the treble hooks, but it's up to you what you like. Both of them will produce. Again, they don't make lures for the fish. They make lures for the guy that's throwing them, because if you think it's pretty, you'll buy it. And I've been all through that. I've given those lures to my kids. Now it's about, what can I do to make it better for me? And that's what I do. That's why I make a lot of my own baits. Well, till later tonight, if you're not busy, Beardo's Roadhouse, 11 to 1 a.m. If you're hanging out in the garage, popping up in a cold one because the temperature's cooled down, maybe you're having a fire in the backyard, who knows? But I'll be there. Tune us on. We're going to be playing some of the CCR, Crosby, Stills, Nash Young. A lot of the music from that type of genre. So we'll talk to you later. You guys have a good one. And before I forget, we got to get Mr. Wong's ending going here. There we go. Y'all have a great week. And we'll talk to you next week, if not tonight. All right? Be safe out there when you go fishing. All right? Ciao.
Over. Mr. Angler say, you come back next week. Maybe we have more stuff. Bye-bye.
The Green Hornet's caught more fish than you've lied about, Gustafson.